Crossed. It's weird seeing you in person like this because I've watched so many of your Instagram clips. I can't even imagine that you're real. I just think I'm watching another one of your Instagram videos.
Yeah, man. I try to put out, good stuff, man, as good as stuff as I can. I just want to wake people up, man. That's my heart in this. It's a lot going on in America right now, man, and a lot of people have no clue what's going on. I still see people posting videos as if everything is just, you know, normal. You know what I mean? Like we're in the past or something, and it's like, no, dude, you guys need to wake up. Like they're trying to destroy America.
I waking people up is an interesting thought. I don't know if you are waking a single person up, but I do know this for 100%. There's a lot of people out there who are scared and think they're alone. And when they hear you speak, they're like, holy shit, I'm not
Hmm.
alone.
Yeah.
And that is a huge comfort. Um, that's a huge comfort. And matter of fact, I get DMs like that every single day. It sucks that I've been shadow banned so heavily now, and my reach has been hugely diminished. But that's a pretty much I get 20 DMs an hour basically, and I'd say 5 or 10 of them are like, oh my god, thank you. I thought I was the only
Mm.
person who thought this. I thought I was going crazy.
Yeah.
You must get a
Yeah.
lot of those. You must get a lot of those too, right?
Yeah. I get a good amount of messages now from teachers. I mean, parents. I've had professors. A lot of people are like you said, man. A lot of people are scared to speak up. You know what I mean? Especially if they're white. It's like white people are terrified right now in America to come out and speak their mind. And when they see somebody like me, and it's funny because it's like I'm just speaking what I feel. It's not like I'm speaking this so white people can be like, oh yeah, go. Like, no, this is how I feel. So it just so happens that their beliefs align with my beliefs, and it works out that way. You know what I mean? If I seen any group of people being attacked, man, like I'm going to come to their defense. Period, point blank. And it's not just white people being attacked. It's America being attacked. So yeah, man, that's just how I feel about it.
You just made me realize an interesting metaphor. Let's say you go to prison and you have to choose: am I going to roll with the Mexicans, the blacks, or the whites? And you're like, shit, I don't want to roll with the whites, the white supremacists in the prison yard. But you have no choice
Mhm.
because in the prison yard, like, you got to pick a team, right?
Right,
Black
right.
dudes don't want you, Mexican dudes don't want you if you're a white dude, so you got to go with the white dudes. The next thing you know, you're with the white supremacists. And the way the media is presenting things, it feels like that. It feels like we're almost like in a prison yard, and they're making us try to choose a team based on the color of the skin. And it's like, yo, I don't want to be affiliated with those white dudes over there.
Right.
But
What if you want to just choose America?
yeah,
What if you want to choose America and that's the team you want to ride with? That's exactly, yeah, because I have a white friend that's been to prison. I have one of my best friends in prison right now. He's black, right? And that is how it works. I have family members who've been to prison. Yeah, they make you choose based on your skin color. And that's exactly what it is right now. That's exactly how everything's like um, being pushed on us. It's like tribalism, you know what I mean? It's disgusting, you know?
Kory, many years ago, this is probably like 20 years ago, I read this story in Smithsonian Magazine, and it was about a professor, and he was an entomologist. He studied insects.
Mm,
And they were talking about how minimalist his life is and how tight he kept his life. There were three things he was interested in: insects, drawing, and running. He was a marathon runner. And so,
mm,
what he would do is he had this cabin in the woods, and he would go on this run that was like a 26-mile route, the length of a marathon. And every like 8 miles, he would have a section where he would put like some rotten bananas in one section, and then some rotten other kind of fruit in another section, and something else rotten in another section. And as he would run to these areas, he would look at the insects there, pull out his drawing book, draw the insects, study the insects, and then run to the next one. And he had this crazy tight life, right? That he was able to accomplish all of his goals in. Like, he could run, He could study insects, and he could draw. And those were his three passions. And I was like, wow, that guy figured his shit out. And when I look at you, I see a man who's a father, an activist, an artist, and a businessman. And you're running all four, and you're running the same loop this dude's doing. You're doing all four um in this really tight orbit. Am I seeing that correctly?
Yeah, I never really looked at myself as an activist. I mean, I guess it just is kind of turning into that, because of the things that I talk about. And, you know, I don't know, man. I never really wanted to be political. I never was into politics and things like that. I would say that once Trump came along and just really started shaking things up, man, it made a lot of people like say, hold on, what's going on here? What's going on? What's that? The media just completely attacking a person, relentlessly, like no matter what they do. I mean, it's crazy. It's like he was the devil, you know, and no matter what he did, he could never do right, in their eyes, in the media's eyes, and certain politicians. It's like, so that kind of made me, look at things a little differently, and also going to church and learning the Bible and different ways to navigate life. I spent my life trying to search, for who I am after, I came out of the music industry, because I was in the music industry since I was about 9. Music was all I knew, and that was the business that I spent a lot of time in, a lot of years in. I put a lot of effort in. We ended up making it on TV and getting a deal. And I was in the same rooms as Jay-Z and L.A. Reid, and people that know about music would know who they are. But yeah, man. And then politics came along, and I actually was for Bernie Sanders. I used to watch people like the Young Turks and people like that. And yeah, so I just started researching things myself. I started looking into different things. I started to actually read and not just take what the media was saying, or what one particular person was saying on a certain subject. And I found out who Thomas Sowell was, and looking into Booker T. Washington and people like that. And then I found Larry Elder, and and it was like a snowball. You know what I mean? And yeah, so that it was like an awakening, you know.
Thomas Sowell had a huge role in my awakening. Also, it sounds like
Mm.
we had similar upbringings. As a When I was 16 years old, I moved into a neighborhood. Had a dispute with my mom. Left my mom's house. Moved. My dad had a apartment complex that he got on foreclosure, that was in a crazy neighborhood. And I moved in there, and me and my dad and my stepmom were the only white people in the neighborhood. It was on
Mm.
the Berkeley Oakland border. It was
Mm.
all black. And so I started reading everything I could. I read Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, all the Black Panther stuff, Eldridge Cleaver, Angela Davis, Huey Newton, just crushing books like that, right? And then I would walk the streets at night and just meet people, and it was all mostly older men. I was probably like 20, and they were like in their 40s, and they had just tons of stories, right? Tons and tons of stories. And I always rocked the Malcolm X shirt. Like I had one, and I had to wash it every night so I could keep wearing it every single day. And that ran its course with me for a long, long time. And then, like you said, Trump came along, and I couldn't stand the man. And I'd voted for Obama and for Hillary. And then they started saying so much crazy shit about Trump that I started looking into it, like this hatred towards Mexicans. And I'm like, how come I can't find him saying that? How come I can only find him saying, yeah, we don't want their criminals coming across the border? And it wasn't directed at Mexicans as a whole. It was just like, yeah, that would make sense
Right.
if Mexico wanted to get rid of. And of course, I live in California, and so tons of my friends are Mexican, hardest working people, in the biz. And and then the same thing happened with the Capitol riots. Just to use another example, I'm like, where? Oh my God, I'm reading the transcripts on ABC News, and I'm seeing he said actually to make a peaceful march. And then at that point, I realized, holy shit, something's not right here. Um, So I had a similar journey to you, and then someone introduced me to Thomas Sowell, and I started reading that. And then one of the statistics, just to use a quick example, they would say stuff like, "This is an example he gave." They would say Jews on the average make $100,000 more a year than Puerto Ricans, and this is a huge disparity. But then Thomas Sowell would point out the average age of a Puerto Rican in the United States is 25-year-old, and the average age of a Jew in the United States is 50 years old. So how the fuck can you compare the two? And I was like, holy shit, at 25, I was homeless, and at 49, I'm rich. Like, I totally get it. You know what I mean? Like, what? Like, they left out like an enormous fact.
Right.
What city are you in?
I don't really want to say the city I'm in, but I'm in California too.
Okay. And why don't you want to say the city? Just because you feel like it could be a target on you?
Right, man. I get death threats, man. You know what I mean? It's like I wasn't even giving out the state at first, you know, because it's like, you know, I'm getting death, and I don't want to have to, you know, hurt anybody. You know, like I have kids, man. Like, you know, if somebody come, you know what I mean? I don't want to be in that.
Right.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I'd rather not go there.
Right.
You know?
The goal is to make a more peaceful place for your daughter to grow up in.
Right. Exactly. You know, that's the goal for everybody's children, man. And that's the sick thing about what's happening right now, because they are going after our children with such, like, you know, it's scary, man. It's terrifying, right? And what I try to put out and what I want to show people is that it's time to speak up. It's not time to be quiet any longer. Okay, if you care about the future of America, which is our children, you know, which they're trying to take away from us, then it's time to speak up. It's time to do research. It's time to look into these things. You know, I just found this, you know, I was looking online and I found this middle school teacher, and you know, she's just all for this critical race theory, you know, and it's crazy because they can't see their blind spot, which is we're attacking after racism, right? And no, they can't see that they're actually being racist. It is the craziest thing ever. Like, they ignore white people because they're white. That is nuts. That is nuts. How do you ignore somebody based on the color of their skin? Like, this guy was trying to give an argument, you know, in the comment section. And the guy actually brought me up. I was randomly on her page, and the guy said Kory Yeshua, and he said somebody else. I think Dan Bongino or something like that. And she was like, I don't need to hear anything from white supremacists. Like, because basically, if you go against their way of thinking, you're a white supremacist, period.
And that's why white people are so scared to speak up.
Right.
The scariest thing as an American liberal, I can't speak for as a conservative because I was raised as a liberal in the Bay Area, is you were terrified to be called a racist. Terrified to love your country and terrified to be a racist. Be accused of it.
Right. Yeah.
Terrified.
Yeah. I have, man. You know, I know I have liberal friends. Like, I would say we grew up conservative. Like, we grew up Christian, but not really. Like my grandfather was a pastor, right? But we didn't live that lifestyle. Like, my mom tried to take us to church when we were younger. My mom and dad did. But, you know, as we started to get older, you know, around 14, 15, it's like that wasn't happening anymore. You know, it was, you know, strictly music, you know, drugs and rock and roll once you got to a certain age. You know what I mean? So it's like, we didn't grow up conservative. You know, I can't say that. You know what I mean? Because we didn't grow up living a Christian lifestyle. So it's like, yeah, man, I believe you, because I talk to my friends that are liberals. I actually have a friend up north right now, man, and I'm showing him all this stuff because he was super into the Black Lives Matter stuff, and he's like, Black Lives Matters for Black lives. I'm like, bro, I'm Black, and I'm telling you, they are not for Black lives. Are you hearing me? You know what I mean? And it really took for me to break certain things down to him and show him the video of saying, the founder saying she was a Marxist, and he was like, he had no idea. Like, people are clueless. They have no idea, you know, they're just a part of this movement because they think it's for Black lives. You know, they think critical race theory is for Black people. No, it is the opposite. It is for the destruction of us.
Do you think they mean well? I believe that they actually, as they propagate and promote racism, they actually are clueless. That the vast majority actually think that while they hold their foot on the neck of humanity and black skinned people, they actually think they're helping. As
Yeah.
they it's like, hey, I feel sorry for you. Like they don't realize that they're projecting that and like psychologically holding people down.
A lot of it is like projecting their own racism, like Ibram X Kendi and Robin DiAngelo. You know, it's like it's Ibram X Kendi is an admitted racist. Like he's an admitted racist. Robin DiAngelo said she, you know, is in a room full of black people and feel uncomfortable. Like they're projecting their racism onto everyone else. And our children are being indoctrinated with this stuff. They have kids books with Ibram X Kendi, right? And people are learning this stuff. They have kids notebooks with black fists, the communist fists on the front, the Black Lives Matter, and it's like, you know, they're just trying to indoctrinate people, man, and they don't understand. A lot of the teachers don't even understand what they're teaching. You're not helping black people. You are not.
What are they doing?
They are pushing. They are pushing the coming destruction of America. That's what they're pushing. They're pushing Marxism. They're pushing communism. We've seen how that's turned out in other countries, man, in other places. Like we've seen what has happened. Why can't like people don't want to do the research and things. They just want to feel comfortable. You know, they feel comfortable saying I'm fighting for a cause and I'm fighting for black people. And that's what my main thing is, just, you know, showing people the truth, man. It's showing people the truth. My grandfather was, you know, kicked out of his country for speaking the truth, you know, because he preached what he believed.
Which country was that?
Barbados, you know. So it's like, yeah, man, you know, I come from that. You know, I come from, you know, speaking your mind and what you believe in, no matter who's coming against you, you know.
So you're saying they're leveraging racism like a Trojan horse they're leveraging racism to push Marxist agenda. And the sad part is most people, and probably I fall into this category, don't even fully understand what that means.
Right.
Because most people don't even know what Marxism means.
Right.
They just think, okay, whatever. I'm just going to go about my business. I just want to keep my head low. And I would have kept my head low if I didn't have kids. I'm Armenian. My family's here because they escaped the genocide, and my wife is Jewish, and you know, we all know what happened over there. And now I have three little Jew boys, and like I can't have any. It's a slippery slope, right? You fight racism with racism, and the winner is, guess what?
Nobody.
It's a racist. no matter who wins that war, it's a racist if you fight racism with racism.
Right.
How many kids do you have?
3. So I have a baby. I have a no, she just turned 2 months. I have a 3-year-old. She just turned 3. And then Royalty, the one that, you know, people have seen in my videos. She's turning 7. So I have 3 girls.
Oh, wow. Congratulations. That is awesome.
Thank you.
And how old are you?
I'm 32. I just turned 32.
Damn, you are at 32. What was I doing? I think I was living at home. I was back at home at my mom's house. She was probably trying to kick me out for like the 3rd or 4th time.
Wow.
So I'm getting the impression that even though you were brought up in a Christian house and you said your dad was a pastor.
No, my grandfather was a pastor. My dad took a different route, you know. He's on the right path now, but he took a different route.
Is he in your life now?
Yeah. My dad's been in my life. You know, he was out of my life for a few years, but, you know, that was because of certain things he did, but I was younger.
Is he proud of you now? Are your mom and dad proud of you?
Absolutely. You know, actually, you know, they're super proud of me. You know, I can say my dad wasn't really on the Trump thing at first, you know, because my dad was like really militant black, you know, like you were saying with the, you know, the MLK and the Black Panthers. And, you know, my dad was in there. I actually posted a picture of him from back in the day, you know, on Father's Day, and he was in the Public Enemy, and all these different types of things. So he definitely taught us some of that.
Uh-oh. You vanished. And you're back.
Okay,
Yep,
you
you're
get
back.
me? All right, yeah. So my dad taught us some of that stuff growing up. Black Power and things like that. So yeah, man. And that's the funny thing to me when people, get on my page and they have no idea like what I come from. They have no idea what I know. They just assume that I'm doing this because white people want me to do it. No, I have found the truth, right? I found the truth, and they say no. The Bible says the truth will set you free, right? So, in my mind, I am setting people free from the prison of seeing racism in everything and everywhere, right? And believing that all white people, no matter what, are racist, and black people are oppressed, no matter what. Like, come on, man. No, we have black billionaires. Like I just put out a post of the black congresswoman who, tweeted out that black people aren't free in America. You're a black congresswoman living your best life in America saying black people aren't free in America. That is so crazy. I can just imagine her with her feet kicked up, eating ice cream and her, you know what I mean? Like, it's living in luxury and, sitting here saying that black people aren't free in America. It's crazy. Like, I come from the inner city, you know what I mean? I grew up in the inner city. I have brothers that were in and out of prison constantly. Actually, I have a brother in prison right now. My other brother, passed away, and I have another brother who was murdered. But yeah, man, I know about all of that stuff, man, and I know that what Black Lives Matters is pushing and what Antifa is pushing, and these different groups and what they're pushing with critical race theory in the schools, I know that it is not for the betterment of black people, and they're using us. They are using us to push their agenda and what they want to go through. I'm not going to say that everybody in Black Lives Matter movement don't know what Marxism is and communism is, and aren't pushing that because they believe that's a better system than what we have now. There are people in the movement, the founder came out and, said it. So yeah, man, it can get, overwhelming at times, but I just keep pushing.
There is a thing. There is a thing by the nature of human beings that we're all going to be prejudiced, and it's not a it's not a bad thing. For example, you are, let's say you're in San Diego. I used to live in San Diego, and if you see a snake and it's got a wide mandible, like, you stay the fuck away from it. That means it's a rattlesnake, right? It's it has teeth. You see a guy driving down this street with a truck and he's got a lawnmower in the back. You assume that he's a gardener. My dad came from the Middle East and he opened up a wine and cheese and liquor store. Well, like, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. You go to UC Riverside, where 90%, and I don't know if it's Riverside or Irvine, where like 80 or 90% of the students there are Asian. If someone asks you to close your eyes, and I'll give you $1 million if you bump into someone and guess their ethnicity and you guess Asian, it's not there's a pressure we're putting on ourselves that's like unrealistic. Like, hey, we are still just people. It's okay to use your judgment. You see three guys walking towards you, their pants are hanging down, they keep watching you, and you can see their underwear, and they're 17 years old, and you're walking by a park in your neighborhood. Like, yeah, cross the street. I don't care if they're white, black, Mexican,
That,
whatever.
yeah, it's like that's the
It's
thing,
okay.
man.
It's okay. It's okay. It's
That
okay. You're just
and
being.
it's like you got to be aware, man. You got to be aware. Yeah, like, but what I think it is that they feel that they can eradicate these things. They feel like they can completely eradicate poverty. They feel like they can completely eradicate racism. But I also posted a video with Denzel saying, like, why don't we just teach our children better? Why don't we all just teach our children better? Everybody that wants to or feels like they can completely eradicate these bad things, why don't we teach our children better? Because it starts in the home. It
Well, you
starts in
nailed
the
it.
home. It starts with us coming together, mother and father, and staying together. It's not easy. It's hard. It
It
can
is
be
hard.
extremely hard, but it can be
Yep.
extremely beautiful and lovely. So I've seen, I seen my mom and dad go through it throughout the years. You know what I mean? Everything wasn't, peaches and cream. Like they've been through a lot of,
Are
a
they
lot
still
of
together?
turmoil. Yeah, they're together. They're
Shit.
together.
Wow.
They've been together for years, man. So it's like, it's just that's where it starts, man. And I think they don't want to like acknowledge that. They don't want to acknowledge that it starts in the home, but it really does, man. It's like then you go on the Black Lives Matter, website, and they took it down now. But the destruction of the nuclear family and things. Why did they have that up there? Okay, why did you guys have the destruction of the, you know, Americanized nuclear family or whatever? Like, mom and dad in the
Emotional
home,
appeal to people who don't have a dad at home. To
right?
say it's okay. It's not
That
okay.
right. It's not okay. It's not okay at all. One of my good friends right now, if he had his mother and father, and he was raised with his mother and father, I don't believe that he'd be doing the time he's doing right now. He's doing 15 years. So, it's like I don't believe he'd be going through that right now if he had his mom and his dad. He had his mom, but his mom was in the hood too, and his mom was street. You know, she was a lovely lady. I really I love her. I have love for her. You know what I mean? But yeah, if he had his father, his father actually died when he was younger. You know what I mean? He didn't have any. But it's like the choices we make, in life, man, can have a serious impact on our children. You know what I mean? That's another thing. Um, we have to make better choices, man. We have to make better choices.
It's the stat that transcends skin color every time, and I don't know why they talk about skin color ever again once you know this, and this is once again to Thomas Sowell, is 85% of the people in prison didn't have a mother and father at home. They were missing one of
Yeah,
them.
I've seen that. Yeah.
And it's crazy. It goes everywhere. It's even to cancer rates and obesity and all of these things. Like, and the same thing was with the COVID response. They keep saying this thing is more dangerous for blacks or Mexicans. It has nothing to do with the fact that they're blacks or Mexicans. It has to do with the fact of what they're eating. It
Health.
has,
Yeah.
yeah, it has
Right.
nothing to do
Right.
with. And so they give these correlates to manipulate the masses when it's like, hey, we can give you data that transcends skin color. Have both your parents at home, and all of a sudden your chances for everything go up. Your average earning, your ability to stay out of jail, your chances of getting killed, being killed. But for some reason, we're fixated on skin color. I saw today just now as I was walking over here to do the podcast with you, it said, I saw on a screen on Alexa, it said Spike Lee becomes the first black man to become the head of the Cannes Film Festival jury or something. He got some prominent role there. And I'm thinking to myself, even that, like, what do I like? Why doesn't it just say Spike Lee becomes head of famous director Spike Lee of Malcolm X and whatever his name, riddle off a few of his movies, becomes the head of the Cannes Film Festival? Why do they have to say he's a black man? It's 2021. What do you think about that? You think it's important
Um.
to celebrate that, or is that even that is like
It.
subtly? It's like who gives a shit
Um.
or no?
Black people do. Black people care. You know what
Okay,
I mean? I can't say that I care. You know what I mean? But I know, and I also can't speak for every black person. You know what I mean? But I know
of
what I
course.
grew up around. You know what I mean? What I seen. I would say that they want to see that. You know what I mean? They want to see that. I don't really care. Listen, man, I
I
really
want to
want.
see it too. I want to see it too. I was so excited when Obama became president, especially
Right.
for 2 terms. I was like, "Fuck! Thank God we
And then
made
look
it."
what he did. And look what he did. He was supposed to be this, savior, you know what I mean? Change and this and it. Like look, man, he brought change, but it wasn't for the black community. Everybody look, black people voted for him because he was black. Okay. But what did he do for black people? At the end of the day, we still in the same situation. Look at Chicago.
Chicago, my
Look
God.
at Chicago. I just put it out yesterday. 104 over the weekend. 104 shootings over the weekend, man. Like, come on, man. Babies getting murdered. Babies getting murdered. Okay, so it's like, and then we keep voting these same people in, and it's like, and then Buffalo, I think it was Buffalo, New York. You know, they just voted in a socialist or something like that, and it's like, we're voting for the same people, man. It's the same thing. Actually, it's worse. It's digressing. It's like, you know, it's getting worse. We're voting for worse candidates.
If you had like, if you let's say they, instead of what the trillions of dollars they spent on COVID response, they peeled off $1 trillion and they said, hey, Kory, we're going to give you $1 trillion. And with that, you could build $100 million Boys and Girls Club in every county in the country. Or Kory, you could offer counseling to every single married couple in the United States for free. Or if you could be like, hey, Kory, you could give food, steak and broccoli to every family to eat for the next 5 years. Like, how do you have any idea what would be the most impactful thing to get change? Do you have any thoughts on that?
That's okay. So I think we just need opportunities, man. I really do. I think we need opportunity. You know, I think we need better leaders. We need better leaders, man. Like, the people we have right now just want to focus on white supremacy, you know, and telling us that the white man is holding us back. The white man, the white man, the white man. It's not the white man. It is Democrat policy that has destroyed us, right? It's welfare that has destroyed us. You know, it's single parent kids being raised by single parents that has destroyed us, man. Not having the father that's destroyed us. So my thing would be, man, if somebody gave me $1 trillion, that's hard to think. I never thought about that before, actually. Somebody gave me $1 trillion, man, it would just be.
If you're going to be president of the United States, Kory, you better think about that.
Man, I wouldn't want to be president, honestly. I wouldn't want to be president, but I would want to back candidates like, you know, Robbie Starbuck, somebody that I actually posted. Man, I think he really has America's, you know, best interests at heart, you know, and I would want to get people in there that actually know what they're doing. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't want to be president because I need to learn, man. I have a lot to learn. You know, I'm not trying to throw myself into office without knowing everything I need to know first. You know.
Let's say that they're right. Let's say that this country is filled with white supremacists holding the black man down. Then still what they're doing is horrible. Still what they're doing is horrible.
Right.
Like
because all they would be doing is switching it around. You see what I'm saying? Then you would become the oppressors, which they are becoming the oppressors. You see what I'm saying? That's all they're doing is turning it around. So it would go from, if they're right that the white man is holding the black man down, it would go from the black man holding the white man down. In that case, you see what I'm saying? So that's okay with you, though. That's fine. You know what I mean? That would be fine.
And why aren't you giving the tools instead of beating down? God, I hate even talking like this, but instead of beating the white man down, why not give the black man tools to excel? A friend of mine told me this: you want to see a society that's in complete shit and chaos? And I go, yeah. What? He goes, the marker is when you see 16 to 35-year-old men with nothing to do. And I think you touched on that. People need opportunity.
Right.
And so if you have all of these young men who are 16 to 35 who don't have opportunity, then they're going to come up with their own opportunity.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if you did it, but I sold a lot of fucking weed. When my dad wasn't at home and my mom worked. My mom was a workaholic and my dad was a workaholic, and I only saw my dad on the weekends. And so I did all sorts of bad shit. Wasn't involved normally in hurting people, but I was breaking the law constantly.
Right.
And why? Because I didn't have direction. I wasn't involved in sports. I wasn't engaged in school. I wasn't like, I was either chasing girls or selling weed so that I could buy girls something.
Right. Worried about girls. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got to figure out a way to give people, like you said, opportunity.
That's what it is, man. And I posted this one guy that I like what he's doing. It's a few people, but this young guy, man, he's like 21 or 22 now. You know, he has this group called the X for Boys. You know, New Emerging King, I believe is his Instagram. You know, King Randall, and I love what he's doing, man. He's taking the youth, you know, and he's teaching them skills. You know what I mean? He's giving them life skills. He's giving them, and he's just showing them a different way. You know, showing them a way outside of what they've seen. Because look, I'll give you an example. So my friend that's in prison right now, right? He grew up in like one of, you know, a really bad hood, you know, and so he ended up linking up with us, right? And all he knew was the streets, you know what I mean? You know, shooting and robbing and, you know, killing and this and that. And, you know, he came around us and he came on tour with us, and, you know, he got to see a different side of life. You know what I mean? He got to see that there's life outside of your hood. You know what I mean? There's opportunity outside of your hood. A lot of people, you know, feel stuck. It's like they're in prison mentally. They're enslaved mentally. You see what I'm saying? And that's why when somebody comes along like Black Lives Matter that say we for black people, we for liberating black people, they like all for it because, you know, who else has went there and showed them a way and gave them opportunity to see something different. You see what I'm saying? And see a way out of where they're at. So yeah, so we showed him a different side of life. And then he's like, bro, like, I love you guys. You guys showed me something different than what I knew my whole life. You know, my mom is a gangbanger. You know what I mean? All my family's gang, his whole family, uncles, everybody, like notorious, you know, gangbangers. You know what I mean? Like, that's what he comes from. You know, that's in his blood, you know? So we showed him a different side of life. And then, you know, he was like, man, bro, I'm so glad you guys showed me a different way, bro. Like, you guys showed me a different way, you know? But he ended up straying back that, you know, down that path once we kind of let the music go. You know, we weren't really into the music anymore. So, yeah, man, but you just got to show people something different, man. I really believe that, you know, and we got to show people that, you know, that it's cool to be in a household with your mom and your dad. You know, it's you know, single mothers, you know, God bless them, you know, God bless them, but it shouldn't be that way, you know, and it doesn't have to be that way.
How come I hate to pick on LeBron, but how come people like LeBron, who I'm sure is probably one of the hardest working men alive, doesn't realize that if he would have made excuses or believed his rhetoric as a young man, that he would have never gotten to where he was? Why can't he? Do you see what I'm saying? He's part. There's these really uber successful black people in all facets of life, and instead of like sharing the recipe to their success,
Right. Yeah, I posted about that. Yeah.
why is that? Why can't they see that? Or do they see that and they're scared of the mob too?
Right.
Are they
That I
scared
think
of
is more.
Nike?
I think, you know, with people like LeBron, you know, I do believe it's things like that. Maybe he's scared to lose his endorsements. You know, he's scared to lose his portion of his fan base, but he's not scared to lose the other portion of his fan base. You know, to where he says, you know, white people this and white people that. He don't care about that. So it's like, you know, to me, man, these people want us to stay ignorant. Period. Point blank. They want us to stay ignorant. They want us to stay in the poverty mentality. You know, they want us to feel like, because if they wanted different, then they would show us different. Show me how you became a billionaire. Show me, okay? You are a black man, you became a billionaire. Show me as a black man how to become a billionaire. Other than sitting around complaining, saying that we aren't free, we this, we that. Like, dude, if you're not just gonna play basketball and not get into politics, then please don't, you know, if you're gonna speak, man, show us the way. Right? Don't sit here and make excuses for us.
Yes.
Don't make excuses for us, man. Show us a way out.
Because then people will start making excuses for themselves, right?
Right.
People want to mimic LeBron. He's
Right.
successful. He's handsome. The world is his oyster. And so, so if I do like LeBron and complain, then maybe I can get to where he's at.
Right. When I guarantee you, he wasn't complaining. No, he was working hard to get where he got. Right. Oprah, all these people, man, like it's disgusting. All these congresswomen, you know what I mean? It's like that made it to where they are. It's like, and then they get there. Now you hate America. Now you hate America. Now America's the worst place ever. But come on, man.
Do you ever get concerned that your identity will become wrapped up with fighting these people? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the Republicans, part of their identity is like not to like the Democrats, and part of the Democrats' identity is not to like the Republicans, when really it shouldn't be like that. Their identity
Right.
should be able to be pushing forward for what's the best. Do you ever get concerned that
Right.
you're like, oh shit, I've made a life of fighting these people, and so now I kind of need these people.
Not really, man. I don't even think of things like that. For me, it's
Okay.
just like, look, man, I want America to thrive. I want the people in it to thrive. You know, I love America. It wasn't always like that. I used to hate America. I used to hate cops, all of that ignorant stuff.
Me too.
So, yeah, it for me, it's like, man, look, if it's Democrat, if it's Republican, and they come, they trying to push this stuff on kids and they pushing Marxism and communism, that's who I'm, aiming my sights at, period, point blank. That does not matter to me. Like I said, Trump's the one that got me, you know what I mean? And he just so happened to, run on that ticket, the Republican. So it's like, and another, for me, but this is one thing for me, why I could never vote for a Democrat. Let me tell you why. This is one of the biggest reasons for me. There's many reasons, but this is one of the biggest reasons. Because they're for abortion. I'm against abortion. I will never be for abortion, like, period. So that I can't even see down that way. But my thing is, even fighting this critical race theory stuff, like I said, if there's Republicans getting on board with this stuff, they getting it too. Period, point blank. You're getting it too, because I see the agenda you're pushing. I know what's behind it. I know what's woven into the curriculum. You know what I mean? So I don't care about that, the party stuff and this, and you know what I mean? It just so happens that's who's pushing it on us right now. The Democrats are the one pushing this stuff. Right? So if I see some Republicans coming on board and people showing, sending me stuff, Republicans getting on board with this stuff, hey, you can get it too.
The numbers around blacks who have abortions are staggering. I just saw them a couple months ago. It was for every 1,000 black skinned babies born, 500 are aborted. That
Right.
is,
That
that's a really
it,
hard thing to process.
and then there's been over 20 million. There's been over 20 million babies aborted, black babies aborted since 1973, I think it is.
So, someone told me the other day they're Democrat, and they were pro-choice, and they said, "Hey, I'm now pro-life," and I go, "Oh, what happened? What's the switch that flipped in you?" And he goes, "Well, the argument always was that it's a woman's body and it's her right," and I was like, "Okay," and he goes, "But then I just realized something. It's their right to have sex or not have sex." As soon as they have unprotected sex and they get pregnant, that right now goes away. Now they're responsible for the baby that's inside of them.
Right.
And I'd never heard that explained to me like that. And I was like, wow, that's some. And he's still a Democrat, but he's not rolling. He's now against abortion. And I thought,
Right.
it's a really sensitive topic with people.
It is. It really. I understand why it is. I get it. Like, people are like, okay, is it murder at this month? Is it murder at that month? Where is it murder at? And my thing is, like, why are we discussing what month is murder at, man? What that they keep saying fetus. You know what I mean? Fetus means baby. So it's like, it doesn't matter what you want to call it, man. It's like, life is life, man. You're taking it. Like, you got here through that way. Okay, you wouldn't be here if somebody would have aborted you. okay, you wouldn't be here. You know, you got here growing in your mom's womb. It took your mother and your father to come together, you know, and then you came. Okay. So it's like I'm just, you know, when you yeah, man, that's how I feel about it. You know, I'll never be for abortion. You know, in the past I was like, whatever about it, but
Now you have kids.
right, I got kids now, and that's the thing, man. That's what I want to show people too. The beauty of actually having children, man. It is amazing. You see little yous, man. It is beautiful. It is so amazing, dude. I cried on camera one time when I was watching a video about to go on the news. I was doing an interview, and they played the video of me and my daughter, the TikTok video, man. And I cried. I started crying because I'm like, this is so beautiful. For some reason, I was able to take myself out of it and just look at, the pure moment, a father and daughter, and I literally cried, man. I'm so glad that tape didn't get used. But I'm so happy about that. But yeah, man, it's a beautiful thing, but we also got to look at, and this is something that we got to look at the other side too, right? And that is once the baby gets here, because a lot of people fight for, the baby getting here. But what about when the baby get here, man? We got to make sure that we're doing things that is helping the babies once they're here. And that's one thing a lot of Republicans and things not really talking about. They more so on the pro-life and stopping abortion. But what about once the baby get here? What if the mother don't want the child? Yeah, we got to fight more for that too.
How did you stumble upon God? What did you have
Well, like I said, my grandfather was he was a pastor. He was a preacher. And, growing up when I was, since I can remember, we was going to church on, Sunday and things like that. Like every Sunday, my mom and dad would try to take us to church or whatever. So yeah, it was always there, even on the other side, on my mom's side of the family, that was more of the crazy side of my family, the gangs and, starting of gangs and things like that. But even on that side, they eventually came around to the Bible and Christianity. And so it had always been around. It's like, but you run from it. You run from it when you're younger, and that's what we did. We were more interested in girls and things like that. So
you didn't have a moment, your kid wasn't born, you weren't in handcuffs,
yeah, it was
there wasn't like
there was
oh
dark moments,
God,
but
please
yeah,
get me out
no.
of this shit. I'm so
No,
sorry I've
yeah,
abandoned you.
absolutely. There was some extremely dark moments, and the more people learn about me, the more I'll put out, here and there. You know what I mean? I don't want to give my whole life story on here right now, but yeah, there was some really dark moments that led up to me getting back around to God, and getting back into the Bible and learning church history and early church and things like that.
Do you work out?
No.
What?
No, I was honestly, man, my working out growing up was just, on the stage, man. That's,
What you don't do any exercise, Kory?
No, I do walking and things. Yeah, I do a little like
You do
walking.
hold
Yeah.
a 6-pound kid for time?
Right. Then that, I got, that's what keep me, super busy, man. Honestly, like I said, I got a 1 month old, I got a 3-year old, and I got a 6-year old. You know what I mean? So that's all the exercise, you need right there, But I see you, man. I see. Is that's your kid that you post like on the skateboard and
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
all that stuff? That's awesome,
yeah.
man. That's like I was in the skate when I was younger, man. We skated for like maybe 8 years, something like 8, 9 years. We used to love skateboarding, man. My brother actually just got me a skateboard. I'm trying to get back on it, but yeah, man, that was fun growing up too.
Are you going to homeschool your kids?
That man, it looks like it's heading toward that way, man. If we can't find schools that's not gonna be pushing this stuff, and it looks like they are pushing really hard. I'm actually trying to get up out of California right now though, but just because it looks like this place is going downhill, man. I'll be honest, it's looking really bad, in California, in my opinion, man. It really is. I'm yeah. I wish I could say I grew up, man. I love it, man. This is all I know. I don't know nothing else. I've been to other states, like I said, I've been, touring and I've been all around. You know what I mean? But and I always would be like, man, I want to get back home. Like it's nothing like California. Like the weather is nothing like here. You know what I mean? I don't really want to be anywhere else. But now it's like now I got a family, man. I got to think about them. It's like, do I want to raise them in around these different types of things that's happening? And you know, yeah, man. I think we're a part of the exodus. You know.
I have some friends. They have two kids, two sons. One's a little bit older than my son by a few months. One's a little younger, and my three sons and these two boys were looking at a book on my kid's bed, and it's a big old picture book. And they had the picture book open, and it's like these two kids all over this playground playing, and there's this one kid going down, and so my kids aren't in school. I don't let them in for that same reason. Like anything, they were in a homeschool program that was kind of closed down because of the COVID response, and they would send home some books on race relations and LGBTQ stuff, and like I would filter all that stuff out. Like I don't like I'm not indoctrinating my kids.
Right,
My
right,
kid's penis will tell him whether he wants boys or girls.
right.
His judgment will tell him what color he wants his friends to be. But anyway, they're looking at this book, and there's a boy going down but these other kids do go to school, and they go to school in a very, very liberal area where they're taught all that stuff every single day. Everything's based on that. So there's this boy going down a slide, and my son goes, and my kids love this game because they'll be like, I'm that kid, I'm that kid, I'm that kid. And my son points to the kid going down the slide, and one of the other kids who's been indoctrinated goes, you can't be that kid. And my son goes, why? And he goes, because he's black. My son's like, what? You know what I mean?
Wow.
And I'm sitting there watching because he's been taught there's black kids and there's white kids.
Right.
To stop racism.
Right.
And I'm just like, I'm standing at the doorway. I keep my mouth completely shut. My kids never bring it up again. I don't bring it up again to them again. And I'm just like, wow, I just saw a living example of how teaching them, like he's 6. He could be whatever the fuck he wants.
Right. That's
he wants to be the kid going down the slide.
Yeah, man. That's so destructive, but that's what they want to do. They want us to see each other through those lenses. They want us to feel like I can only be like growing up, the Power Rangers, right? I wanted to be the Red Power Ranger. You know what I mean? I didn't look at him as being, white or, whatever. Also Jason, I think he was white, the white Power Ranger too. I wanted to be the white and the red one. You know what I mean? But then they had the black Power Ranger too, and my brother wanted to be that one. You know what I mean? But we didn't look at it like, oh, it's because he black and it's because he white. But that's how they want us to see it, man. They
wanted their powers, right?
Right. You just wanted to be them. They were awesome.
Yeah.
They were awesome, man. So, but that's the lenses they want us to see everything through. They want us to see everything through the lens of race. And that is what Martin Luther King was fighting against, man. Judge people by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. And it's like that's what I want to raise my children. That's what we should be raising our children up, man. Keep getting these calls, but yeah, you don't want your child to be held back by believing that they're oppressed, man, or that they're oppressors. Like it's so destructive, man. It is so destructive and disgusting. And yeah, man, it's terrible.
I got another example. A friend of mine came over to my house. He goes, hey, I was just at Whole Foods. I go, yeah. He goes, I had a black checker. I'm like, and he goes, I would have fucking never known I had a black checker a year ago. This shit's getting into my fucking head. And I'm like,
wow.
I hear you.
Wow. That's
like, why the fuck do I care? And he goes, and the whole time they're checking me out, I'm asking myself, does this guy think I'm a white supremacist? Does this guy think I'm a white supremacist? I'm like, my
man,
God,
yeah, I've had people hit me. Yeah,
the minds, and I'm like, this is fucking nuts. Because I just wanted to just fucking be like, yo, what's up, dude? How was your day? And get the fuck out of there. And instead, I'm having this huge psychological trip while I'm at the cashiers at Whole Foods, and I'm like,
yeah, that's crazy. Can you still see? You can still see me and hear me?
I see your perfect skin, buddy.
Okay, it's saying recording failed. There was an issue, and then it says restart. So I don't know, like it's telling.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. So mine's still recording. So look what I'm gonna
Well,
do.
it's
I'm
up on
going
my
to
screen right now. Like that's what it's showing me, and that's it. It's just saying like there was an issue with